Okay, good morning, welcome back to Tiuplo TV. We're back here at Clark's Golf Centre, just outside of St Helens. Myself, the average golfer. We've got Joey the Tweet behind the camera. It's a pretty miserable day out there in the range, but we're nice and dry under cover here. We're going to be looking at the newly launched, just hit the shelves over the last few days in terms of demo kit. It's the Nike Vapor range. I'm holding two clubs. There's actually three drivers that they've released in the last few days. We're going to start off by looking at the Vapor Fly and the Vapor Fly Pro. Obviously there'll be some slight differences between the two clubs. We're going to see how they fare in my hands, measure some, get you some stats, see how they measure up against my current club in the bag, and see if the Vapor range of 2016 gets the thumbs up from Tiuplo. Okay, we're good to go. We're going to start off with the Vapor Fly. So I think that's the model that's aimed at, again, the sort of mid-handicapper. Starting off with aesthetics. First of all, it's very bright blue, luminous almost in colour, luminous yellow swoosh, very brash, and certainly I would think aimed at a younger audience. For me, more of a traditionalist, I prefer the black head on a golf club. It's a bit bold for my likings in terms of look, but very nicely finished. Now then, in terms of the science behind the club, the big thing for me and the big noticeable difference is they've managed to reduce the weight in the head by 30%, which seems a significant amount from last year's model. And what that has allowed them to do is, again, lower the CG, move the weight back, and again, it's that same old tale that we've heard so many times this year already in terms of club improvements. Higher launch angle, easier to get airborne, in other words, easier to hit, and greater support, help for off-centre hits. And like I said, that's pretty much the same message that all clubs have put out there in this last few months. How they've managed to do that in terms of the science is very much different. But for me, the minute you start talking about sort of the science behind turbulators and speed pockets and the rest of it, it's probably time to have a look around the room and see if everybody's yawning, because that gets a little bit tedious for my liking. Right, let's see, first of all, are we good to go, Joe, as terms of our figures here? Remember, we use a SkyTrack monitor. We'll see what we get in terms of performance, and we'll throw up some stats at the end to compare to my current club in the bag. Right, here we go. It's a nice start, high powerful launch. Seen a really good strike in terms of centre. Came out the middle, just looking at the imprint there, that was right out the middle of the face, and it certainly felt that way. It was a great feel out the face, to be perfectly honest with you. Club felt good. Distance wise, 237, so that's not bad in terms of performance. Again, I would think, we'll throw my stats up at the end, but you'll see from, I use Callaway XR driver at the moment. My average drive is around that sort of, I'm pretty sure from the stats we've done at the beginning of the season, average is around 237, so that's bang on the button for me. I mean, the club, it certainly sits very nice behind the ball, 460 head, but it doesn't look as big as some of the other clubs do sat behind the ball. It's certainly not been elongated in terms of the view from the top of the ball. Let's try one more. It's a nice sound. It's certainly a, you know, there's a shotgun effect there. It certainly goes off and attracts a bit of attention. That ball probably wasn't as good. Maybe looking at the club, maybe a bit of water on the water between club and ball there. How did it perform? Made a big difference, didn't it? Yeah. I'm not sure whether we should have perhaps just dried that ball off a little, because in terms of strike, it wasn't too bad. Right, let's have a go again. Now, worst swing, come across it. I think I'm massively offline, I wouldn't have thought. It was a slight cut. I'd be interested to know in terms of distance how much it loses. So 233, so minimal loss in terms of difference, and again, I think that second ball was probably due to the fact we had too much water between club and ball. Can often make a big difference to the figures that are recorded on these monitors. Let's try that one off. I will say, I mean, on first glance, with first impressions as such, I'm quite impressed by the club. It's Certainly seems to be, that's a great ball. That's the best of it, I would have thought, Joe. It's a very, very powerful feeling off the face. Certainly feels as though there's that springboard effect going on when you get that ball out the middle and it fires it out there. I'm surprised, yeah. So that was 2-3-1. It felt great, and like I said, I'm really surprised that that didn't go a record a greater distance than the first ball that we hit out. Anyway, I think we'll make this the last one. Have I hit? Is this my 5th ball? Let's try one more. Not a good one to finish. Again, this will be the interesting thing for me. It's those off-centre hits that, again, the average golfer is more often than not going to hit and find, and it's how much support. Did we not record that one? No, we didn't. Right, we'll give one more then. I think there's definitely been some problems in terms of recording the data this morning. Again, I'm putting that down to the fact that there's a lot of water on the golf balls, and maybe again I should just wipe down the face as well. Maybe that's having a bit of impact, I don't know. Right, let's try again. That's another, I mean, it's a good feeling club, I have to say. I've only hit a few demo clubs of Nike's before from last year's models. And previous to that, in all honesty, Nike weren't doing great things in terms of the golf clubs, I would have thought, in the sort of previous to last year's launch of this 2015 Vapor model. But I have to say, pretty impressive. They only got 205, which is a bit surprising. I'm a bit concerned about the stats today, but I'd also be concerned of the fact that we've used, or I'm using, what is a stock option in terms of the shaft. I'd probably say that it's not best suited to my swing type, and if we had a little bit more time, perhaps we should be looking at a slightly different model and an upgrade in the shaft if I was looking to buy one of these things. Right, let me catch my breath. I'm slightly out of breath here this morning. Not used to hitting so many golf shots. Now then, we will change. Joe, have you cleared? Do you want to clear those out, or are we going to carry on running as that? Carry on running. Right. So, Vapor Fly Pro. Science and technology behind what we spoke about earlier, 30% less weight in the head, all still applies in terms of the Fly Pro. Slightly different size in the head, I think it's a 440 head. Again, something more in keeping with what I like in terms of visuals, size of the club. No offset whatsoever in terms of how it sits behind the ball. So again, that's something that I would like. We're set up again. This is a stock shaft available from Nike. It's a Diamana, and we'll see how we fare and see if we can find the differences between the Vapor Fly, and don't forget this is the Pro. Again, like I said, sits behind the ball. For me, a little bit neater, a little bit tidier, and I have to say I prefer that look. That's a solid knock as well. Seems so much more. Again, let's see what the result says. Not great at all, is it? I'm surprised because I'm disappointed in terms of the stats that we're getting, because we're barely, I mean, that's 213 yards, which is very disappointing, I have to say. And surprising as well, because I seem to be getting the ball pretty much out the middle. Decent ball flight. Flight wise on that, what was the launch on that? 8 degrees?
8 degrees, yeah.
I'm a bit surprised. Again, maybe this just needs a little bit of maybe it needs a little bit of messing around with the shaft in terms of getting it fitted for myself. I've hit that one way out to the right hand side. Distance wise it's gone further, but it's gone further right, so again I wouldn't take a great deal from that. Certainly once again I'm struggling a little bit in terms of my swing on this shaft. Let's try one more. That's by far the best ball of it all morning, so I'll be disappointed, Joe, if we don't get some decent numbers out of that, or better numbers rather than decent numbers. But that's 2, 3, 4, so far better ball. I felt as though I certainly had to make an effort to get through that again in terms of the shaft that I've got in this at the moment. But yeah, when we got it right, it certainly produced the results. Let's try one more. Again, decent strike, slightly out of the heel there. So that would certainly be classed as an off-centre hit. Let's see how it does for us in terms of help and support. 209. Again, the numbers are without doubt disappointing. I've got to put that down to, or I'm going to put it down to these, the water on the balls and on the club head. I'm going to try and dry these off again. I mean, although the stats don't suggest it, I like the feel of the Fly Pro, but I would think that in terms of help and support and off-centre hits, you maybe can feel that you get a little bit more help from the Vapor Fly, which is basically as it should be. Let's see if that makes a bit of a difference. Again, it's an okay hit. It definitely hasn't got the kind of, if I can just, let me see if you can see where that one has gotten to. I'm not sure whether that'll, it's off the bottom of the club, it's centre but off the bottom. 207. It doesn't give you the same sort of help and support that you're going to get from the Vapor Fly. Right, one more, Joe, are we done? Yeah, we'll give it one more go. Let's see if we can finish with a decent ball. Oh, I didn't like the sound of that, Joe. Didn't like the sound of that. Big splash of water again onto the club face had impact. That's going to be pretty poor in terms of performance, I would think. Just scrambled over 200 yards, so it's a real surprise in terms of the performance for me personally. Excuse me. Where's the other club? Out of the two, I'm a bit surprised, to be honest with you. I tried last year's model just a few weeks ago of the Fly Pro, and I really liked it, got some good results out of it. And I was expecting big things here this morning. It's literally the first hit we've had. Hit a few balls before we went live onto the camera. But for me personally, I've struggled with both clubs so far. Out of the two, I got better results, there's no doubt about it, on average from the Vapor Fly. Neither club sort of inspired confidence in terms of the stats though. Although they felt okay, nice feel out the middle of the club, performance wise wasn't great, and I'm not too sure whether how much of that I would put down to the fact that we use standard stock options in terms of the shaft. So if I was going to seriously consider one of these things, I would have to spend a little bit more time making sure we had a good look at the shaft upgrades and got fitted out correctly. So yeah, but there they are. Don't forget, if you want to try one of these things yourselves, get down to Clark's Golf Centre. All the stock, all the fitting bay is good to go with all these products. We're going to wrap it up there in terms of the Fly range, and we're going to go to, what's the next one we're going to look at? The Flex. So there's one more driver in the Nike range. It's the Flex. We're going to give that a go. We'll be back with a separate video very, very shortly. Take care, and we'll see you soon.